You know what I find is in the intros.
Shut up!
Don't be rude, Dick.
Welcome to episode 278 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. Today, Adrian and I are talking about spring break and how that affects real estate.
All right, I'm pumped up. Let's go. Spring break.
Spring break.
Monday,
2024.
March 11th.
Yeah.
And it feels like summer break.
Feels like summer.
Today does anyways. We're recording this a little bit earlier, but the weather is crazy. So spring break will be interesting.
You also celebrate your birthday during spring break.
I do, March 16th.
So 42 this year.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Doesn't really faze me.
No.
I'm not a big birthday guy. Alicia's trying to find, she always does something. Like I think last year we went to iFly with the kids.
Yeah.
That was fun. But I would just be happy going for dinner.
So you're obviously going to be working during spring break.
Yes.
Your wife and kids, any plans for them?
Nope. No plans. They generally just play dates and hanging out, going to the park, riding their bike.
Yep.
Keeping active.
When you were a kid,
yes.
Do you have any memories of spring break?
Nothing. No, we didn't really do anything.
No, me neither.
Nothing memorable anyways.
Now, as you got older, did you ever do like the Daytona Beach or
no,
none of that stuff?
No, I was never into that stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep it simple.
March break is always weird because you never know what the weather is going to be too, right?
Yeah. So. Well, we are going tomorrow, which is
yesterday,
a few days ago when this is airing. We're going to Blue Mountain for two nights and 1 day of snowboarding. If there's snow. Oh, sorry, we're snowboarding on Thursday, so 2 days from now.
Yeah.
We're heading up there tomorrow. But it's weird because there's one hill, I think Horseshoe, they've closed all of their hills until March break to conserve the snow for the March break. So I'm just waiting to see Blue Mountain do the same thing, and then that kiboshes our plans. Hopefully not.
Hopefully you get some snow, get your last runs in,
yes.
And I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. What are you doing for March break?
Moving us into our new facility.
Yes. Well, that doesn't count. Are you doing anything fun?
Moving us into our new facility.
All right.
By the way.
Did you hire movers or are we calling our friends? Because I'm getting flack from some people about not wanting to help my friends move.
Are you? There were some good comments on our Insta this morning, so I haven't responded yet. You're not able to log into the team Instagram anymore?
No, I haven't even tried because I don't have it on my thing.
Anyways, if you didn't see that podcast, there was a clip where we talked about helping friends move. And now we've got a shit ton of stuff that's got to go from this office. By the way, for those of you who have
these for
watched,
sale?
These are for sale.
The damaged one?
Yep. It's only a little chip.
Yeah.
They're used. And these are $500, almost $600 a piece.
They're solid. And they're height adjustable.
The cheapest one I can find is about $600. The same brand. They're super high quality, height adjustable. So I don't think we'll have a problem selling them, but we needed somewhere to sit.
Because for everybody wondering why the setup is different today, Ariel calls on Sunday and says, hey, the boardroom table sold.
Yep. And I rushed over. I disassembled it.
Did you do it on your own?
Yes. Thank you for your fucking help.
I knew you'd be able to. You're always, when it comes to labor things, you don't like doing them.
Whoever said that?
I did just now. Okay, let's move on.
I do lots of labor things. Thank you very much.
Let's move on to today's topic.
Okay, let's face it then. I am the brains behind the operation.
You're the brains, I'm the bronze.
You can be the what?
Bronze. Brains and bronze. Isn't that what it is?
Brawn.
Brawn?
Yeah, brawn.
Bronze.
Not bronze. It's not a fucking color.
You can't add an S to it?
Bronze.
We need to get Robbie mic'd up so he can chime in sometimes. See? There you go. Thank you very much. It has been settled. No, you just end it right there. We're good.
Spring break, what does it do for the real estate market? That's what we're talking about today.
Yes. So, I mean, every year is different, especially in recent years. So it's hard to predict. But generally speaking, it's a little slower.
We're usually off-centered a little bit, and we're like,
I know that's why I say it feels kind of
dead,
debate-ish.
Dead on. Yeah. So let's debate. I like debating.
Well, we don't usually agree. No, we're supposed to have that I disagree button.
Yeah.
So anyway, so March break is typically a little bit slower, and we oftentimes we'll see shortly after the break is when we get an influx of inventory.
Yep.
Which is
this year will be no different.
I don't think so either. I think it'll be very much the same. And we consistently say, I would say every year, like, any time is a good time to sell. We're big advocates of that. If you need to move. Don't try to time the market. But we are big advocates of saying that early in the year, end of January and into February is a great time because there's a lack of inventory. And especially with the weather we've had this year, we had fairly active buyers. So we've seen the market pick up a fair bit. But that could change come the end of March.
It already has changed. If you look in Halton and Peel region over the last week to 10 days, you'll see more homes being sold conditionally.
Yeah.
Less multiple offers. When there are multiple offers, there are fewer offers on those properties. So why does that happen? Well, more inventory comes on the market. The buyers that were really hot to buy have already bought. And now all of those buyers are preparing their homes for sale. And generally, this is the time frame now that they're preparing the home. That's why in the last 2 weeks of March, we're going to see more inventory.
And there's an interest rate announcement.
I don't think there's any plan. Well, that's happening now. So when this airs, it would have already happened.
Do you think we'll see.
It's going to stay the same. There's too much activity in the real estate market in the first 2 months that they're not going to want to put any fuel on that fire. Because if the interest rates go down during this activity, that's going to fuel it and it's going to continue to raise the prices. And that's what they're trying to avoid a little bit.
Well, and soon we're going to start seeing a lot of those pool houses coming to the market.
Yes.
A lot of homeowners. I've been speaking with one that will be listing soon. And they're already getting their pool open in the next week or two.
Yeah.
So early opening, which is great for polar bear dips, cold dips.
It's funny because 4 years ago, when COVID started, almost to the day, or the lockdowns started, can't believe it's been 4 years. Holy smokes. But that's when people were moving out of the GTA for bigger homes, bigger land. They wanted pools. They wanted cottages. A year later, real estate wasn't moving very much. Things started to die down. And then the quote unquote crash or the dip happened. And now it's starting to all revert back. All of a sudden, the cottage market is heating up tremendously, especially for waterfront properties. People are reverting back. So if you moved out to whatever, St. Catharines, now maybe you're moving back to Burlington. People have to go to the office. Some companies are making it mandatory because they're paying rent on their offices and want to fill those spaces. Not as many pool home buyers as there were.
I think it's still an asset. Like it's still
it is, especially
very attractive in this market compared to what it was several years ago.
I was looking at vacation prices.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Astronomical.
Families are paying $10,000 a pop.
And that's not even for a lavish, like you just want to go on a basic 1 week all-inclusive trip, family of 4, you're $10,000.
Depends where you're going. Yeah, you can get a nice resort though.
I said lavish.
Well, what's lavish? Not many people go on lavish vacations.
Well, but I just said it's not anything lavish. It's just nice.
Yeah, I guess they're all subjective
$10,000
word.
5 years ago, you were getting something lavish.
Yeah. It's expensive, nevertheless. I don't know why they don't give. They did for a very short period of time.
Some of us can't afford to upgrade to first class.
They first I bid. I got it at a fraction of the price. They incentivized people to travel local.
That still blows my mind. Bidding wars on airplane seats.
Well, it makes sense because then they can, if they have a net, they're less likely to fill the business class seats. So they get people to prepay and bid with their credit card for an upgrade, and then they list the coach seats for sale.
Now, in real estate, the seller can disclose the offers when there are bids. Mm-hmm. Do the airlines disclose what the bids are on those seats?
No.
See, they should do that. Drive the price up.
Or want to drive the price down. Maybe I see that nobody's bid. It's the same thing. It can go either direction. It's all in the seller's discretion.
How much did you end up paying? Oh, we talked about that. It was like $300. Yeah.
Yeah, $700 total.
Anyway, so this week, March break week, great time to be a buyer. There are fewer buyers in the market. You've got people that are busy with kids. A lot of parents don't want to go on showings with their kids. There are people that are doing the Florida trip, driving down to go to Disney World, or they're visiting family, doing the kids camps kind of stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Generally, we see less activity this week. So, throwing it out there to any buyers, spring break, great week to be buying real estate, and it will continue the rest of March. Here, there's a clip that at least we can post for 3 weeks in concession. Yeah. The mid to end of March is a great time to be a buyer.
So 11th to 31st, basically.
Yep. Great time to be a buyer. There are fewer buyers in the market. What does that mean for sellers? Well, when there are buyers that are legitimately looking to buy out in the market, that means it's a good time to sell. You may get fewer offers, you may get fewer showings, but you do get the very interested buyers going through your property. What that also means is that you need to be very cautious in your price and your strategy right now when listing your property for sale. Because 6 weeks ago, the strategy very much was list low, get a lot of offers, and then you know that you're selling on the high end.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying that, you may not be as successful.
Well, and there's a lot of properties that are overpriced still. And so I'm helping one client purchase a condo. And especially in the condo market, which I think may be driven because there are a lot of investors that need to get a certain amount, so they're hopeful that they can, but their expectations are not realistic. There's many that are, in the $500,000 to $600,000 to $700,000 range that are like 10 to 20% overpriced.
Yeah,
and they just will not budge. And they're like, and then one agent I was chatting with, she was saying, we have it listed for lease or for rent. So whatever happens first, we'll do. And she's like, I really feel bad for my clients because, they really need to get a tenant in or sell it. And we're not having luck with either. And I'm just like, well, that's because you're way overpriced on both ends. Like the lease is too high. Right. And the purchase, the offer, the list price is too high. Like, don't feel bad for them. You're doing them a disservice. Feel bad for yourself for being incompetent. Yeah. Like, tell them the truth. Don't mislead them.
Right.
And so it's frustrating because there's condos that we should be able to purchase within my client's budget, but these sellers are not practical.
So if that continues to happen, those properties are going to stay on the market longer.
Yeah.
And it's going to force them to accept less eventually because it's going to put downward pressure on the market. And in condos specifically, right across Halton, Peel, GTA, there's ample supply of condos on the market.
Yeah.
But these sellers are hopeful. And they look at the prices of what they sold for 2.5 years ago. Well, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah. Well, then the same.
And what pisses me off is that most of these people bought it for significantly less than it could sell
Many
for.
of them.
Many of them.
Many of them. Not all of them.
Not all of them. If you bought it in 2021 or 2022, chances are you're taking a loss.
Yes.
But it's stopping the bleed too.
Yeah.
Because there's no signs of the condo market really taking off right now like freehold homes are.
No.
So at what point, and then mitigating your loss in terms of the difference between renting and selling. Because if you did buy your property in 2021, 2022, chances are you're losing a significant amount of money every month, regardless of what the rental income is.
We had somebody who decided to sell and rent their home back, and it wasn't ideal because they were taking a pretty significant loss on the purchase, on the selling price, but they paid it off in like 3 or 4 years in terms of lower carrying costs. Right. So, and that, I mean, for me, I would be so stressed. So just relieving myself of that stress on a monthly basis would be worth a lot.
Well, and it frees up not only your mind, as you're saying, it frees up your capital as you go to do other things, other opportunities, and you can always get back into real estate when the time is right for you.
Yeah. Well, the same agent that I was talking about with the condos, she's like, oh, by the way, I have an exclusive listing of a 1-bedroom condo in a particular building, and my client will sell it for $580, which is what he paid for it. And he's going to pay the commissions out of pocket, so he's taking a loss. I'm like, well, $580 is still too high.
Right.
Like 1-bedrooms are selling for closer to $500.
Just because he bought it for $580 doesn't mean that's what it's worth.
Yes, correct.
Anyway, spring break is great. As you know, I don't particularly like the cold weather and the cold months. And we're about maybe a month to 5 weeks away from starting the process of opening up the cottage, which always makes me happy because that means the good weather is around the corner, which also means real estate will flourish
or just stabilize. I just want to get through this process of
normalcy.
I want to
getting to normalcy.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that ever happen in real estate, Adrian?
Rarely. When we started in the industry, it was more normal, I'd say.
13 years ago.
13 years ago.
When we got our first listing for $500,000, and we were like,
that
wow. No, I mean,
when
we first got
that was a high price.
When we first got our $500,000 listing, we were like, wow, we got a listing for $500,000. That's amazing.
Yeah, I remember we got our first $1 million listing, and some local agents called and said, how'd you get that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. We were a year in the business and we got $1 million listing, and all of our competitors were like, how did you get that?
That was funny.
Yeah. Good old times.
Yes.
Anyway, so
happy March break. Hope everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. So next week, actually, this is a good time because I'll do a little kind of preview for what's up next week on the podcast. We're going to talk about, did you forget your recording today? We're going to talk about grandparents and
is that the conversation? I thought we changed it to something else.
Well, I want to talk about grandparents, so I'm going to whatever the hell.
No, we were going to talk about contractors.
Oh,
not
contractors.
Getting shafted by contractors.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about grandparents too.
Grandparents get shafted by contractors. I watched a movie recently where a woman got scammed and then she killed herself, and then what's his face went on this big. Anyways, it was a good movie, but it was all related to this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I forgot we're going to talk about contractors.
It's called The Beekeeper.
And how to avoid getting screwed by contractors, and some tips on hiring contractors.
Yeah.
But the whole grandparents thing is on my mind, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit too.
Oh, fine. You mix things up a little bit.
All right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Ciao.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to episode 278. And we hope you have a wonderful spring break.